What if your mind is like a beautiful, clear lake, but for years, you've been unknowingly stirring up the mud from the bottom with worry and fear? The clarity and peace you're searching for aren't something you need to find. They're something you simply need to allow to settle. We are taught that to find peace, we must solve all our problems, control the future, and fight our fears into submission. But what if that's all wrong? What if the true path to peace isn't about adding more control, but about gently subtracting your resistance? It's 3 a.m., you are wide awake, your mind racing through a dozen worst-case scenarios about tomorrow. You are utterly exhausted from a battle that hasn't even happened yet. If this sounds familiar, stay with me, because the ancient key to quieting that inner storm is simpler and closer than you've ever been told. What if the very peace you have been so desperately searching for has been within you all along, hidden just beneath the turbulent layers of worry, doubt, and an endless stream of what-ifs? So often, we live our lives caught in a painful tug-of-war between the pull of past regrets and the fear of a future we cannot control, completely forgetting that the present moment is the only place life ever truly unfolds. Worry is like trying to navigate your life's path while carrying a mountain on your back. A mountain made of tomorrows that haven't arrived and yesterdays that have already passed. It is a heavy load that was never yours to bear. It drains your precious energy, clouds your mind with fog, and keeps you from experiencing the quiet, spacious freedom that is already available to you, right here, right now. But when you gently, intentionally, begin to loosen your grip, when you stop trying to control every single outcome and instead allow life to move with its own sacred rhythm, something profound begins to shift. A natural stillness rises from within. The clenched fist of the mind softens. The guarded heart begins to open, and you start to see that peace was never something you lost. It was only hidden. In this video, we will gently explore 7 timeless Buddhist teachings. These are not complex doctrines, but practical, compassionate lessons that can guide you beyond the noise of anxiety and into a state of calm, clear awareness. These insights are not about escaping from life, but about learning to meet it with clarity, courage, and a newfound sense of ease. If you have been longing for a way to quiet the storm within, these teachings may be the very doorway you have been waiting for. 1. Finding peace in the sanctuary of the present moment. Buddhist wisdom teaches us a simple, radical truth. Anxiety cannot survive in the present moment. It is a time traveler. It can only exist in the mind's projections into the future, where it builds elaborate fantasies of disaster, or in the past, where it replays our regrets on a loop. The faults of what might happen, what could go wrong, or what the future may bring are like scenes from a movie that hasn't even been written yet, let alone filmed. When you feel that familiar wave of anxiety rising, gently notice, where is your mind? It is almost never here. It is racing ahead, spinning stories, and pulling you away from the only place where life is truly happening, this moment. Right here, with this breath, in this body, you are safe, you are grounded, you are enough. This is the heart of mindfulness, the gentle, compassionate practice of returning again and again to the sanctuary of now, Each time you return, anxiety's grip loosens just a little more. In this stillness, you discover that peace is not something out there to be found or achieved. It is something to be remembered. Beneath all the noise of the mind, it is already here, patiently waiting for you, too, the seed of fear in the garden of your mind. Have you ever wondered why, sometimes, the more you fear something, the closer it seems to come true? In the school of Buddhist wisdom, the mind is seen as a plot of rich, fertile soil. Whatever seed you choose to plant and water with your attention, be it fear, anger, calm, or compassion, will inevitably take root and grow. Fear is not just a passing feeling. When nurtured, it becomes a powerful lens that colors the entire world you see. The more you dwell on it, the more it shapes your choices, your energy, and ultimately, your reality. Imagine you are harboring a deep fear of losing your job. That quiet, constant dread begins to influence your actions. Hesitation replaces your natural confidence. Doubt overshadows your clarity during meetings. You start to operate from a place of scarcity and anxiety. And without even noticing, you may begin to create the very outcome you wish to avoid. In relationships, a fear of abandonment can cause us to cling too tightly or to withdraw preemptively, creating the very distance we were so afraid of. This is not destiny working against us. It is the seed of fear, quietly watered by our own focus, steering our lives from within. The teaching is beautifully simple. You are the gardener of your own mind. The soil does not judge the seeds you plant. If you sow seeds of fear and worry, a garden of fear and worry will grow. If you consciously choose to sow seeds of presence, trust, and peace, then those qualities will blossom instead. When fear arises, see it not as an enemy, but as the seed. You have a choice. You can water it with more fearful thoughts, or you can pause, breathe deeply, and ask, does this thought bring me peace, or does it deepen my fear? Choose with awareness what you wish to cultivate. As your inner garden softens, your outer world begins to open in miraculous ways. Free, the gentle strength in the power of letting go. In our modern world, we are often taught to confuse strength with control. We are told to control our time, to control our emotions, to control our success, to control the very direction of our lives. We push harder, plan more meticulously, and cling tightly to the outcomes we desire. Yet, the timeless wisdom of Buddhism offers a gentler, deeper truth. Real strength is not found in holding on tighter. It is discovered in the courageous act of letting go. Surrender, in this sense, is not weakness or giving up. It is a profound act of wisdom and clarity. It means releasing the exhausting illusion that we can, or even should, shape every moment, every person, and every result through sheer force of will. Instead, we learn to do what we can with sincerity and a full heart. And then we allow life itself to unfold. Imagine you are holding water in your hand. If you squeeze your fist as tightly as you can, the water escapes through your fingers. But when you hold your hand open and relaxed, the water rests there, calm and steady. This is surrender. It is soft, yet incredibly strong. When we release the chronic need to control everything, something powerful begins to happen. Our depleted energy is restored. Our mind, once cluttered with strategic planning, becomes clear. We begin to notice creative paths we once overlooked, and support appears in ways we never could have orchestrated. Life begins to flow with us instead of feeling like a constant battle against us. To surrender is to choose to live in harmony with life itself. And in that harmony, we do not lose our power. We discover where it truly resides. 4. The deep freedom of trusting life. There is a quiet truth in Buddhist wisdom that feels both challenging and profoundly liberating. Control and faith cannot walk down the same road. The more tightly we cling to the illusion of control, the further we drift from the peace of trust, and the more deeply we learn to trust, the more we must naturally loosen our grip. Think of it this way: you cannot grip the steering wheel with white knuckles and, at the same time, truly believe that the road itself will guide you safely home. Control and faith move in opposite directions. One is born from a deep-seated fear that if we let go, everything will fall apart. The other is born from a quiet trust in a wisdom larger than our own. When we try to micromanage every part of our lives, what we're really saying is, I don't believe life will support me. I don't trust the process. But has this constant control ever truly brought you lasting peace? More often than not, it leads to burnout and exhaustion. Anxiety grows, tension builds in our bodies, and we find ourselves tangled in the stress of managing outcomes we can never truly command. Control may offer the illusion of safety, but just beneath its surface lies a quiet panic. Faith is different. Faith is not passive, nor is it careless. It is the wisdom to know the difference between what is ours to do and what is not. Faith whispers, I have done my part with love and sincerity. Now, I trust the unfolding. It allows us to take meaningful action without being emotionally shackled to the results. It opens us to mystery, to a timing we do not dictate, and to beautiful outcomes we cannot yet see. This is the ground where true faith begins, and where faith is, peace inevitably follows. 5. Letting go of imagined fears. Your mind is the most brilliant, creative, and convincing horror movie director in the world. Much of what burdens us and weighs us down never actually happens in reality. Our minds are experts at creating powerful storms that never arrive, carrying us into a world of vividly imagined dangers. Buddhist wisdom reminds us of a simple but life-changing truth. The greatest weight we carry is rarely reality itself. It is the stories we create about what might go wrong. We spend sleepless nights replaying possible outcomes, rehearsing difficult conversations, and bracing for challenges that may never come. These fears become like invisible stones, heavy in our pockets, weighing us down as we move through each day. And yet, if we were to look back, we would see that the vast majority of them dissolved before they ever touched our lives. A thought is not a fact. Just because your mind presents a dramatic story does not mean you must buy a ticket. Step inside the theater and live in it as if it were real. When a wave of anxiety rises, can you pause and become a gentle detective? Ask your mind softly, Is this happening now, in this moment, or are you just showing me a movie trailer for a film called What If? More often than not, you will see that you are battling shadows and images, not reality. This practice of distinguishing fault from reality is a cornerstone of peace. But what about the feelings these faults create? The anxiety, the sadness, the anger. They can feel so solid, so permanent. What if they aren't? What if they, too, are just visitors passing through? That brings us to our next profound teaching. When we begin to see our imagined fears as mere stories, as movies playing in the theater of the mind, a weight begins to lift. We are no longer a captive audience. We can simply notice the film is playing and return our attention to this breath. This moment, the only place where life is ever truly real. In that recognition, something profound shifts. We realize that life, as it is right now, is often far kinder and more manageable than the catastrophic futures we fear. But this newfound space can feel unfamiliar. How do we learn to live here, in the calm of the present, without being pulled back into the habit of worry? It begins with understanding the very nature of that worry and how true growth requires a gentle act of release. 6. Growth begins with letting go. Worry is the subtle architect of cages. It doesn't arrive all at once with loud, clanging bars and a locked door. It begins quietly, almost unnoticed, often disguised as prudence or responsibility. A cautious thought here becomes a single brick. An extra layer of anxious planning there becomes the mortar. A small hesitation, born from a past hurt, becomes another brick. Over time, these small, seemingly harmless hesitations weave together into walls. And before we even realize what has happened, we find ourselves living inside a fortress we built to keep ourselves safe, only to discover it has become our prison. Inside this cage of worry, life becomes smaller. You shrink your dreams because they feel too uncertain. You hold back your voice because the fear of judgment feels too heavy. You close off your heart because the risk of being hurt again feels unsafe. And so worry, which promised you protection, delivers only restriction. The way out is not found by building stronger walls or by exerting more control. It is found in the quiet, courageous act of release. Letting go, in this sense, is not a loss. It is a profound beginning. It is the quiet courage to say, I will no longer allow fear to define the shape and size of my life. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that we cannot grip everything tightly and still expect our hands to be open enough to receive something new. Life gently asks us to shift our focus away from the vast ocean of things we cannot control, and toward the small, sacred ground of what we can, our choices in this moment, our quality of presence, our capacity for compassion, and our willingness to remain open. Living with chronic worry is like being a tightly coiled spring, holding immense tension in the name of being ready for anything. But this readiness is an illusion that comes at the cost of our peace. Letting go is the gentle release of that tension. It is not a collapse. It is an expansion back to your natural state of ease and flow. Every act of release is an act of becoming larger. Ask yourself gently at the end of this day, What if the energy I spent today worrying about things I cannot change was instead invested in nurturing the things I can? My presence, my kindness, my creativity, my trust. When you stop trying to bend life to match your rigid blueprints and instead begin to move with its natural rhythm, everything shifts. You begin to feel supported, not by the illusion of your own control, but by the quiet, benevolent intelligence of life itself. Letting go is one of the deepest forms of bravery. 7. Getting out of your own way allows life to flow. This brings us to one of the most profound and yet simple truths in Buddhist teaching. It is the master key that unlocks all the others. Life begins to flow with astonishing grace the moment we learn to get out of our own way. The harder we try to control every detail, the more resistance we create. The tighter we grip, the more chaos we seem to invite. But when we learn to step back, not in neglect, but in quiet, active trust, something truly remarkable happens. Life starts to move with its own profound intelligence, often in ways that are far wiser and more beautiful than our most carefully laid plans. This idea can feel unsettling at first. From a young age, many of us were told that our safety and success depend entirely on our ability to control. We were told to manage, to correct, to strive, to interfere, and so we analyze every conversation, anticipate problems before they exist, and inject ourselves into details that were never ours to manage. We fear that if we don't, everything will collapse. Yet, what is the actual result of this constant interference? Instead of bringing peace, it drains our life force. It clouds our clarity, saps our energy, and leaves us weary from carrying burdens that were never ours to hold. Buddhism points to a gentler, wiser path. It teaches that when we loosen our grip, when we stop throwing our own anxious obstacles into the stream of life, the water begins to move freely again, just as a river carves its own perfect path through the land without our help. Our lives also have a natural, intelligent rhythm. The more we interfere with it, the more we dam the flow, the more we trust it, the smoother the current becomes. Worry and control are like stones we repeatedly throw into that river. They disturb the current and muddy the water, but when you consciously choose to remove them, when you choose trust over tension, the water clears, and life flows with ease once more. Your peace, your creativity, your loving relationships, they are all like a beautiful butterfly resting in your hand. They are drawn to a gentle, open, and safe space. The more you try to squeeze your hand shut to grasp and possess them out of fear, the more you crush the very beauty you long to hold. But if you keep your palm open with trust, the butterfly may choose to stay, and even if it leaves, it knows it has a safe place to return. When you practice getting out of your own way, the shift arrives. You begin to notice synchronicities. Support appears from unexpected places. Timing works in your favor. Clarity rises without force. You breathe easier, and your shoulders soften. Life no longer feels like a battle to be won, but a beautiful rhythm to be trusted. The journey to peace, then, is not a grand battle. It is a series of gentle releases. It is the release of yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's fears. It is the release of the need to control every outcome. It is the release of the stories that tell us we are not safe. And in their place, we cultivate presence, trust, and a quiet confidence in life's unfolding. It is the courage to open your hand and trust that you will be held. Here on this channel, we are a community of fellow travelers, learning to find stillness in a noisy world and peace in an anxious one. Each video is created as a gentle guide back to the present moment, to your own inner wisdom, and to the simple joy of being alive. If this path of compassionate awareness resonates with you, I warmly invite you to subscribe and join us. Click the notification bell so you never miss the moment of peace. Your presence here helps this sanctuary of calm grow and reach others who may need it. Until next time, may you breathe deeply, may you walk gently, and may you trust the beautiful unfolding of your life.